Ooh, baby, this week we have a sexy one for you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Girlfriend Experience joins us. She's in town from Canada, and we're talking about being
Jehovah's Witnesses, the firmament. Is the earth flat? This week we get to the bottom of it. And by bottom, I mean Dipper.
We're talking about vajazzling, dancing with a fan, drag inspirations,
And this wig tastes like enjoy.
M.
Oh.
M. Mom!
When your first choice is a big old bus,
You turn around and boom, you end up with a sloppy seconds. Oh, diva. Our number is 213-536-9180. Our email is sloppysecondspot@gmail.com. Turn it down.
stop yelling at the people.
Kill yourselves.
No.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Sloppy Seconds. You can send us an email at
You already sang
213-536-9180. How you stop shoes to full of you not so so no Sloppy Second with Big Dipper and Meatball. Meatball, that's Big Dipper.
You look freshly.
This is a Willem wig,
Uh-huh.
and she let me have it.
Okay.
And I think this might have been her wig.
It looks
But
tousled.
Willem, why is the lace so dark? Get back to me on that one.
Are you excited for today? I feel like we haven't been here in a while. I don't know why.
It's been like a week. Well, we took 2 weeks off.
Oh, okay.
And now we're going to see each other every single day this week.
For the rest of our lives.
Yep. You guys, we don't hate each other. I don't know who started that rumor.
Seems that way based on the way Meatball talks to me.
And I'm going to start being nicer on here. And speaking about nice people, our next guest is from the nicest country in the world. She's our sister from up north, a Canadian superstar. She leaves nothing to the imagination. Please welcome to the stage, the Girlfriend Experience!
Hello.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I recognize you with your clothes on.
What clothes?
What clothes?
What clothes?
Well, now hold on. Here we are on YouTube. Now hold on now. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Great. Very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
so excited to be here.
You were just talking about all this like international hullabaloo. You really clocked those miles, huh?
Lately, yeah.
You've been traveling a lot?
Yeah, in the
You
last
love
year.
to fly?
I love to fly.
And there's no fear of
Mm-mm.
dying because you're not flying on an American airline.
No, I like to go with the Icelandic airplanes.
Iceland Air.
Iceland Air is the tea.
Yes.
Is it really?
It is.
And their water?
There's just, I don't know. I think they just have like a higher standard for economy than like other places.
Yeah, there's a lot more room.
There's more room. The seats are more comfortable. The people are nicer on the planes.
And their water.
I did. Oh my goodness. I had my first experience with someone yelling at me for reclining my seat on my last
Okay,
flight.
tell
Wait,
us what
what?
happened.
Tell me, because I'm a recliner.
I'm a recliner.
I'm
He's an
not.
up straighter.
Oh,
The
really?
whole time.
Yeah, look at
Well-
that body and tell me you want that up straight for 6 hours on a flight.
I have a hard time getting up once I go back.
It's literally like,
It's literally an inch.
Can't do it.
but that's what my friend Johnny said. He's like, literally, it's an inch. Like, what's the difference? And I was like, it just takes a little pressure off my lower back.
It's
That's
just
all.
a little bit more comfortable than
Yeah.
sitting straight up.
Straight
So
up.
who yelled at you? What happened?
Okay, so I was like, you know the back of the plane, you can't recline your seats,
Yes.
right? The very, very back ones. So there was like 2 girls that were behind me. I was in the second to last row. And so I reclined my seat because like I worked the night before. I was on my way to Iceland and then from Iceland back to Vancouver.
Mm.
So I
Quick
reclined
stop
my
It's a quick
for
seat.
the
stop in
water.
Iceland for the water.
Actually,
Yes.
no tea. The flights are cheaper if you stop in Iceland. It's why they do it, because they're trying to bump up their tourism.
Yeah. It's a lot
But
cheaper.
what's there to do in Iceland?
So much.
I went to Iceland. I spent a week and a bit there. Like
Did you go to the baths? The
I
Blue
went to
Lagoons?
the Blue Lagoons.
So good.
I did the whole thing.
Fish.
But they actually like what they'll do is Iceland Air you can add a 7-day trip to Iceland without any extra cost to your flight because they want to up your tourism.
Yes.
The only thing though is Iceland is like hella expensive.
Yeah.
Like really, really,
Once
really
you get
expensive.
there, but the flight is cheap because they
Yeah.
don't care.
And the way the Earth curves, which can segue into something afterwards. We'll get to that.
Uh-huh.
The
way the
backroom
Earth
talks
Curves because it is round.
Thank you.
It's only a 6-hour flight from Vancouver. And so
Mm.
then I get like a 2-hour layover so I can like smoke, eat, and then it's another 3.5 hours to like mainland Europe.
Oh,
So it's like a
mainland Europe.
cute little like cheat to like have a break in between. And it's cheaper
I
than flying
hate a
direct.
layover.
Yeah, but in Iceland.
It's a nicer airport than at most of the airports I've
Oh,
been
is it
to as well.
really?
Yeah.
What do you think about LAX? Pretty hellish, huh?
It's a lot.
It's like
It's a lot. I don't know why I'm walking 45 minutes to the luggage carousel.
Well, because
There you go.
they're making you wait. Because
Yeah.
they need the time.
They
Wait,
need
so
the
she
time.
yelled at you because you leaned back?
Okay, so yeah, so I leaned back, and sure enough, I got my tap on the shoulder. And I was like, I knew what was gonna happen the second I felt that tap. And I was like, this is my first Karen. I love this. So I turn around and I look at her and she's just like, excuse me. I'm really claustrophobic and you're really coming into my space and it's really difficult for me. And so I just like looked at her and was like, are you serious? And she's just like, yeah. So I like put my seat up because I was like, I'm not going to make a scene. It's a 3-hour flight. And so I will go to the bathroom after. And then I talked to the flight attendant and she was just like chit chatting away. I'm like, do the seats behind me like recline? And she's like, yeah, the ones on our planes actually do recline. It's like interesting because the ladies behind me are having an issue saying that I'm taking up their space by reclining. And so I went to the toilet, come back out. The girls had been moved to other seats in the plane because they were just like not having it. And so I remember walking out and just feeling the death stares of both of them because they got separated. Essentially, because the flight attendant was just like, she can recline her seat if she wants to. And if you don't like it, here are 2 other seats that you can deal with.
I
you
love
got your
that.
way.
So you went and talked
So
to
props
teacher.
to Iceland Air.
You
I
would have
love
talked to
that.
teacher?
I love that.
Hey, I will never tattletale, but if you ask me how my flight is going, I'll let you know.
Oh!
Yeah, she'll
that's
give the
true.
information.
Yeah.
She asked you.
Yeah.
The closest thing I've ever encountered was like one time there was a seat next to me and I was like in Comfort Plus and this woman tried to move like to that seat and they're like, no, you can't have it. And she goes, but no one's there. And they're like, yeah, but they paid extra. And she was like, I don't care, no one's there. And like she had a panic attack, like freaked out on the person, but I've never seen anything other than that. Have you seen a plane fight?
I fall asleep.
You do, quick too. Like
On
before the flight
purpose.
even takes
Oh,
off,
lucky.
he's knocked out and sleep apnea full effect.
Yeah, I'm letting everybody know I'm asleep and you can hear it.
I can doze off during the takeoff. There's something soothing
Oh,
about
it's
the way
amazing.
the
That's
plane
when
is
I
shaking.
recline. She's
The
like,
way
there's something
There's something
soothing.
about
something so
soothing with the
soothing
shit.
about all the
If I fall asleep before the flight takes off, I know I'm just gonna stay asleep the whole time.
Yeah.
But if we take off and I'm not asleep, it's over.
I did misspeak. I did have on my way to the Netherlands like a few months ago. I did have another incident with a family. I was sitting in Comfort Plus and there was a baby behind me and the baby was like on the girl's lap and just like kicking my seat constantly and crying and it was an overnight flight and like I usually like those ones cuz I'll stay up and then I can sleep the whole trip and wake up on whatever time zone
Right.
I'm in. And so I bear through this for like half the flight. And then I asked the flight attendant because there was a seat like one over and in front if I could sit there. And she was like, yeah, no problem. Like, if the baby's bothering you, that's fine. I'm like, I don't want to give her issues
Right.
because she's a mom and I get
Mhm.
it. And so I move to that seat, and there was a family behind, a Dutch family. And it was like the husband, wife, and kid. And so I was sitting in front of the dad. And so I like first sit down. My jacket is like hanging over the side of the seat a little bit as I like get myself sorted. He like grabs the sleeve of my jacket, throws it onto my lap, and is like, "Don't let your stuff touch me." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, it's not that serious." So I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Don't worry about it." Like just trying to defuse it. So I get comfortable. I recline the seat. All of a sudden, he pushes the seat, and I like turn and he's like, "What?" He's like, this is so rude. Like, you're just taking over the seat in front of us and invading my space. And I just like, I'm like, you know what? Well, we can ask the flight attendant if you want to. And then he was just like, no. And then he finally shut up and left me alone. And I was like, my goodness, people are so.
Why'd you
Now I'm
make-
traumatized to like be comfortable in a
Right.
plane that I'm already
Yeah,
packed
I'm like,
into.
I'm sorry, we're all in a tube flying through the air. Like, you're not gonna be comfortable.
I also think there's a thing that's happening now where we're all so used to building our own little world, whether it's what we see on social media, how we order
Wait.
food. What?
I mean, other people do stuff and have lives.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding. You go. You go. You go. The
But
Earth is
it
flat.
makes us like less. It makes us less patient and have less grace with other people.
Oh, for sure.
Because we're so used to instant gratification. Click, click, boom, I'm done. Order this, get this, look at whatever I want, stream whatever I want whenever I want it.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, oh, appointment TV. Other people are like, oh, I have to wait till Thursday for a new episode of this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people are just impatient.
Well, my dad nailed it too when he said that like the new generation or like the younger people, like they've lost their abilities to like socialize because back in the day, I could even for us, like when we would socialize, we didn't have cell phones to like call our friends. We had to knock on their door.
Yes.
Or we would like hang out with our friends and like beat each other up and you kind of learn how to socialize and how to like behave.
Yeah, or like
and be cohesive with one
make
another.
a plan and not change it. Be
Yeah,
like,
and,
I'll
like-
meet you at 3-ish.
But people's ability to like communicate were
Mhm.
stronger back then. Where now it's like there's so many people that don't even like socialize outside, and then they act in real life the way they do online behind an anonymous account, just like shouting into the void, essentially, you
Yes.
know. And then, but except for now, you're the void, and you're getting yelled at in a plane full of like
It's
200
crazy.
people watching you.
It's so nuts.
I'm thinking about how
How you're what?
your friend thought I was rude.
He would like us to not discuss that. It was more something that you said to him. Okay, we'll discuss it. Sorry. Sorry, boo.
Sorry, bleep.
Bleep. He said that you were like, yeah,
I
he
went
said,
and
I'm
saw.
Meatball's friend, I'm blah, blah, blah. And you went, yeah, I remember. I have a brain or something like that. Like you said something shady.
I feel like I said, yeah, I remember meeting you.
Okay, see, this is where it's like we're not supposed to be doing this.
But this is where like the context of like what you mean behind the words that you
Yes.
use are different from how they're received from other
Oh,
people,
absolutely.
and
Intent
how
Which is why I
those
think we
versus
should
how
all-
those
impact.
same words have like a shady connotation to one person. It has
Yes.
like of course, girl, I got a brain.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
Context.
the earth is flat.
The Earth
The Earth-
is okay.
the Earth-
So let's get to it. You're here
I am
in
here.
LA, and you're here a lot in LA.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
Do
travel
you
here
actually
all the
like
time.
LA, or do you just like the gigs?
I love LA.
Okay.
It's like
I love LA.
it's warmer than Canada, at least Vancouver. I like the friends that I got here.
But
I like
isn't
the
And
Vancouver
who
also-
are these friends? Pudding?
Puddin', Carrie.
Carrie. Okay, so you're staying at Carrie's
I'm
house.
staying at Carrie's house.
Would you say the floors at her house are flat or curved? And does she think that the earth is as flat as the floors in her house?
She does not think that the earth is as flat as
I need to hear it. Carrie Colby, I need to hear from your mouth. Do you believe the earth is flat or round?
Why did that rumor get started?
I don't know.
And I think
I think it was like a tweet, and I think
you
it's mostly
and or
me.
we are.
I was-
You know
I
what?
was-
Maybe I made it up like I made up Monet's BBL.
The reason why I heard this first was because someone sent me something on Reddit, someone talking about me and like some of the other girls, and they were calling me like a what's it called when you're one of those trans girls that think that you only have to have plastic surgery?
transmedical.
Transmedicalist, and they were just like kind of ripping at all of us with their like perceptions of us and saying that like, oh, I can't believe she's hanging out with like a flat earther. I'm like, there's none of us think the earth is flat.
You know what it might have been is like she might have liked a tweet or something, or
Maybe.
she maybe like made
It's you.
a vague
this-
reference, or maybe again, maybe I made it up.
But here's the thing when it comes to that, like some people love horror. You know,
Yes.
people love gore and the thrill and the scare of it all. I don't like violence. I don't find joy in seeing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I grew up very Christian.
So
That's
wild.
We believed
crazy.
in like the firmament and like whether the earth is flat. That's like questionable. People, you know, in the religion, but in Jehovah's Witness, it's like, for me, I'm hardwired as like a religious person.
Right.
I had to like deconstruct everything to be like where I am today. pretty like atheist or like, don't really believe in any deity of sorts. But for me, the equivalent of like a horror movie is like reading things or like watching things on like the earth is flat, religion is real, like all the things that would kind of like play on the things that we were taught that I quote unquote like turned my back on and got shunned from my religion from.
Right.
The idea that like, what if that is I'm the one that's wrong. That like
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like what if God really does exist? Like that kind of like fear
Yeah.
gets tickled, and that's like my equivalent of like a horror thing. By no means do I think that like the world is flat or anything like that, or like
Right.
a lot of these conspiracy theories on like the ice wall. But all of that plays on that like plays on the whole like what if there is something that we don't know yet and that it does align with the Bible and I'm the one that's going to end up burning in damnation after,
Well, I think there's a lot of like you just said it. You're not a fan of violence. You want love and acceptance and like
Mhm.
peace for all, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who like fervently believe these things in religion and in the Bible and things like that, there's always a good and a bad. There's
Yeah.
never a gray area. There's this is good, this is
Yeah.
bad. If you're bad, you're damned to hell. If you're bad, you get killed. Like it is violent
Yeah.
in its like black and white take on the issues.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really sort of wild thing when they preach like love and acceptance and what would Jesus do and all these
Mhm.
things, when I think inherently all of that religion is so violent and
Oh,
so
totally.
Oh, yeah.
aggressive. And so it makes sense that somewhere in the back of your head you're going,
Earth's flat.
Well,
no,
it's like
no,
Oh,
it's
sorry.
like-
I,
it's like
I thought
as-
I was on the same.
it's
like,
No.
it's like as outrageous as like the idea that like some crazy doctor is sewing people's mouths to other people's anuses and making a human
Right,
centipede
yes.
out of it. That
is possible.
which is possible, but we all know is not really something that happens.
right.
But like as someone who grew up religious, I'm like, I know it's outrageous to think that these things are real, and I know that they're not. But because I had that religious upbringing, that inch of possibility, curiosity, or like fear is there where other people who weren't born and raised in the same kind of stringent religious household would say that's completely like crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
and talk about grooming. That's the
Oh, for
reason
sure.
why that little itch is in the back of your head,
Yeah.
because you were a child when you were taught all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now, what is the firmament?
I think it's like, well, I was taught it was like it's kind of like a dome, but like something that a ceiling essentially that separates the heavens, the water in the heavens from the waters on the earth. And essentially what happened was when Noah's Ark happened, or like God was wiping out the wicked people on the earth, he opened up the firmament and let the water from the heavens pour down onto the earth, which
To
caused
create the flood.
the flood.
The
And all these stories
wickedly
to me,
talented.
because I love like history and I love like ancient cultures. I'm like, I feel like most of religion is just like an elaborate tale to articulate what was happening in the earth at the time without the scientific knowledge that people have
so they
today.
had to.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
You know,
There
people
was
are
a
always
flood.
looking for an explanation.
It's like an
yeah.
elaborate cave drawing,
Yeah.
just
Right.
like
Wait, so are you still? Are your? You said that you still talk to your dad.
yeah.
Is he still super religious?
My dad was never religious.
Oh,
My
okay.
mom was like a devout Jehovah's Witness, and so that
Which
was actually what
means-
caused them to split.
Oh wow. Okay.
And Jehovah's Witness means like no
Christmas.
birthdays, no holidays,
Exactly.
no presents, that type of thing.
You never
Yeah.
got
No
gifts?
extra celebrations.
No, it's like they always tell us that you don't need a birthday to receive like love and presents. So I would get presents like,
Got it.
other times, but like specifically for birthdays, we were taught that Jesus never celebrated his birthday. So why would we celebrate our
Well, we
birthdays?
actually don't know that.
Well, Jesus was celebrated for the life that he led, and it was after his death that people, really put emphasis on him. So like what you do in your life is like after you die, what you've done with your life is what's important, not, your birthday per se.
It's more about the legacy.
Yeah. Well,
We have
that's-
funerals and they're like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Big
want my funeral to
memorials.
be a fucking party.
We, as if I'm still a Jehovah's Witness.
Well, no,
That's
it
Sorry, old
really
habits die hard.
it's really ingrained. Like there, it is not to be taken lightly. The things that you learn as a young child
Oh yeah.
stick with you as like the truth or as the thing to pay attention
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Well, and it was all that I knew, right? So
Right.
imagine, like, I don't know if you guys were born into a religion, but like this was the religion for me was what I was born into. So my idea and articulation of like the entire world was sold to me a certain way that it was my reality.
Mhm.
That
Right.
like I couldn't fathom the world being any other way. So it's like hard to it took me until I was like in my mid 20s to fully separate myself. Even like when I got kicked out and like I chose to just like follow my queer path, it was probably till I was like 25 or 26 that I was finally got to the point that I'm like, okay, I didn't make a choice. God actually doesn't exist. Because I was living in this idea that I'm like, I made the choice, I'm shunning God, and whatever happens, it's like, I will live with the
That's
consequences, but
so
I can't
intense.
I can't live this way
Mhm.
anymore. And then finally I got to the point where I was like, okay, God doesn't exist. And that took me till I was 26, so like 7, 8 years.
Jeez.
Wow.
That's like
And that's living in
indoctrination.
fear all the time too. It's like
Yeah.
always in the back of my mind knowing that I'm going to be, we don't believe in hell. Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in hell. They believe that like the earth, our job when Armageddon comes, 144,000 people, the ones that partake in like drinking the wine and unleavened bread during the Passover, they go up to heaven, only them,
Only
to
144?
144,000,
Oh,
and they
1,000.
will rule over the earth with Jesus Christ as like, co-rulers. And it'll be our job after the wicked people have been like destroyed to rebuild the entire planet to be in the same state as the Garden of Eden. And then our bodies will be perfected so we won't have death or sickness anymore. And then all the people that have died will be resurrected because the ultimate repentance for sin is death. So, even Hitler would make it back, unfortunately, with
It's
that
like
thing.
literally a Marvel movie.
Yeah. And then it would be our
But
job to
when
rebuild the
you
earth.
rebuild the earth, would you consider maybe this time making it flat?
Maybe. I mean, it might make air
Or
travel a little bit
trans.
Yeah, because
easier.
it's the curvature of the earth makes it faster.
Yeah.
Um,
But then Satan also is
oh.
not fully put away. Like Satan is like
Yeah, she's right here at the
they
table.
put God, Jehovah will put Satan in jail for 1,000 years in an abyss. And then after 1,000 years, the abyss will be opened. Satan will come back onto the earth for a period of time to do one last sweep to kind of test the people, and then almost like a final cleansing of wicked people to make sure that who's left on the earth is like meant to be there. And this was my reality
This
until I
is
was like 18.
the tales of a schizophrenic person.
Oh. I was just
Well,
gonna
I
say
do have some mental health problems, and
Well,
I
no,
do.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying like whoever came up with this is like
Well,
so
that's what
it's
I
so
mean.
insane. That's
There
like,
are so
how do
many
you come up with
rules.
the
Well, and the
thing?
religion too. Another red flag is that it was created in 1918,
Yeah,
I
that's
think. So it's also like in abroad, like looking at it now, I'm like, that's really not that long ago to be
no.
creating a religion, and one man did it. And there's only 5 men in New York that govern the entire religion.
Like Mormonism. It was
It is.
like
There's only like
created
5
super
million
late.
Jehovah's Witnesses in the whole world. And it's very like,
That's kind
this
of
is
a
why I
lot.
don't get along with like cancel culture, because it's very much that same kind of, if you sin, you risk getting canceled from the congregation. So that means your family no longer talks to you. You lose everything. So when
Baby,
I was kicked,
that's a cult.
that is a
That's
cult.
well,
And
okay.
so when I got kicked out, I lost my family, I lost my friends, I lost everything. So I got kicked out, was on the streets. I had no one and nothing. I just had like one gay friend that I was like partying with that I ended up just like moving into with and like forced into an uncomfortable situationship relationship with him. So it's like it was really weird.
Ugh. And that was at
I was at
27,
18,
18. It
19.
took until 27 to get out of it mentally. That's crazy.
Mm.
Wow.
That's so tough.
How
And now look at you, a star.
A stripper.
World traveler. A stripper.
A stripper.
Me, a stripper.
A drag stripper.
Well, let's talk about that when we get back right after this break. You know, sleep is so important to living a healthy and happy life. I know when I don't get enough sleep or enough good sleep, that has a huge effect on my mood, my energy, my productivity. And for a long time, just moving through life, I never thought good sleep had anything to do with my mattress. And it does. And that's why I love my Helix mattress. I get great sleep on it. You know, I've had the Helix mattress since we started working with them, and it was the first time in my life that I ever actively upgraded to a mattress. I used to just sort of take whatever came in the sublet that I was living in and just settle for whatever was there. And after taking the Helix sleep quiz, I was matched with a mattress that worked for me. I'm a big and tall person. I sleep hot. I move around a lot when I sleep. And so when you take the Helix sleep quiz, you're matched with one of their amazing models. They have tons to choose from. So if you're a side sleeper or a back sleeper, or if you run hot, they've got something for you. And before getting my Helix, I'd never ordered a mattress online and had it shipped to my door. But that was a new experience for me too. It shows up in a box. You don't have to go to a store. You don't have to like bounce around on all these different mattresses. You just open your door and receive your package. So if you need to upgrade that old lumpy dumpy mattress and improve your sleep and therefore improve your life, get yourself a Helix. Go to helixsleep.com/sloppy for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/sloppy for 20% off site-wide. helixsleep.com/sloppy.
And we're back. You like Wicked?
I do. I did.
Uh-huh.
The movie. I don't know if I could sit through a musical.
Ooh,
Like
You're
a
not
play.
better than me. Well, the musical is shorter.
Is it?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first movie is longer than the entire musical.
But does it have Ariana Grande in it?
it doesn't.
It does not.
It doesn't.
It has other very talented triple threat performers,
Yes.
Broadway level.
I'd say go
superstars.
to the Broadway show. The touring cast was great. So you're a performer.
I'd like to think so.
How did
Some
you-
may
How did
say.
you get started?
Yeah. Like when you were 18 and you're like living with your friend in
You're
that
into a forced
situationship.
situationship.
How did you start performing?
I was going to the clubs and I had an alias. It was Berlin. And I started off as like a club kid. So I like dressed up really crazy and it got me into clubs and stuff like that. And soon I started getting booked to like host parties. And then I was always fascinated with strippers. Even when I was a teenager, I was always like always in the mirror, just like pulling my underwear into a thong and just like over my hips. And so I wanted to strip. So I started stripping without lip syncing. And I liked it, but I didn't like doing it as a boy. And so I was like, I want to strip as a girl. So I started stripping as a girl, as a drag queen. That was my drag. And then I started lip syncing with that. And then that kind of just like set everything off. And then, sure enough, I transitioned.
How long were you performing before you were like, oh, this needs to be a
I'm
full-time
trans.
gig for me?
I think I always knew that I was trans. I was
Mhm.
just like, again, it took me like a lot of time to come to terms with it myself and like kind of uproot a lot of my religious things that like held me back from like wanting to fully pursue it. Cause I used to tell my mom all the time, I want to be a girl. I'm a girl.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that kind of added to the intense level of shelter that my mom tried to like keep me under. Or
Mhm.
so I was 20, I got sober at 26.
Good for you.
Thank you. And then I think once I got sober, that kind of let me really digest who I was and like make the moves that I needed to be authentic to myself. Because again, like I said, I had to like let go of my religious trauma and I had to let go of the booze and stuff. And I feel like booze and drugs was one of my escape for, being in the wrong body and like all the that happened before. And then, yeah, once I started transitioning, it was like I was pretty loud and proud about it. And then pandemic happened. And then as soon as the pandemic ended, I just like banged out all my surgeries and then ended up on Drag Race.
Bang, bang, bang.
Bang, bang, bang.
You were so like such a light on TV. You were
Thank you.
so fun. It was so sort of unexpected.
I was definitely feeling like I was very grateful to be there. And I was very, I would say, the kumbaya girl of the season, back
Mhm.
like behind the cameras. But I was like just going through it the whole entire time
Really?
because I was just like such a mind and you go on to there being so assured of like what you are doing and who you are as a performer, and then the critiques happen, or you're not, you know, living up to the expected standard of like Drag Race. Like for me, I was in a before I went on the show, I had all my plastic surgeries like in a 6-month period. I just like
That's
went
really
really
intense.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after my surgeries, I was kind of like thrown into, once I got my face done, that changed everything how I was like perceived. And I started like experiencing things that girls do and like how intense like guys can be and like the over sexualization. And like my first night out, I like someone tried pulling me into a car.
Oh my
And I
god.
had like
Jesus.
2 Russian gangsters that were at this like after place where like some gangsters like to hang out, corner me, and security had to like intervene because they were just like picking on me or like about to do something.
Horrifying.
And so I was just like so like like hey, like trying to figure out where I fit in the world and what's going on. And so I met a guy. We started dating. It was like really beautiful at the beginning, like doors open, bought me anything. Second date, he took me to Tiffany's, let me pick out a diamond ring. So, in
Where
my
are these men for me?
Well, hold on.
You
Let her
I'm
gotta
getting
finish.
dragged into a
Let her,
bathroom
babe,
and
let
sucking
her
dick.
babe,
finish
that's
the
a
story.
trans girl thing, or I think
Oh.
Russian girls tend to get a lot of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But and
Russian
so for me, you'd
trans.
think like, oh, this is a fairy tale, like now I finally get to have what I want. But he was just like he liked the naiveness of me because I was so new and so fresh as a girl that I was very clueless as to what
Mhm.
was happening and like how to exist.
Mm.
And he was like, I guess now I look at it as like grooming me, was like giving me all that I wanted because he was trying to build his perfect
Yeah.
girl. And I was very resistant. Like when, things were happening in Israel, me and him would get into arguments about like human rights and other things. And he always took the opposition. And I was just like, what the?
Oh my god.
And then we got into a fight one day. It was like, I don't even know what it was, but he was drinking and he told me what were his words? He was like, you're like a 10 with makeup on, but without makeup, you're like a 4. And if you lined up a group of straight guys, they would all say the same thing. He's like, I know what you like in the guys that you're attracted to. I prefer my women not to look like men. And that,
Oh
because
my
up until that point, like you couldn't
god.
have told me that I was transgender. I was like, I've had my surgeries. I was so confident. I was like, I'm living the cis girl fantasy. No one could clock me. And he just like fully knocked me down so
Oh
hard.
no.
And then after that, like he was paying for my root canal the following day, and he went in the closet and picked out this like outfit he got from the store, and he kind of just threw it at me and he said, if you want me to pay for this, like put this on and do what you do best, kind of thing. And so I was just like so destroyed
Oh
afterwards and
my
just
god,
like a
I'm
shell
so
of a
sorry. That's
human.
horrifying.
Thank you. It happens, and I'm probably not the first person and won't be the last. But after that, it was like a few weeks later, I was on Drag Race. So I went on to it completely like
Oh my
God.
god.
destroyed in all my confidence. And then I got onto the show being like, well, at least, drag I'm good at. And then everybody thought everything I did was too simple because my taste is more, my personal taste is more refined. I find beauty in simplicity rather than like
Mhm.
huge. And yeah, I think my emotions on the show was a reflection of like what had been happening
Mm-hmm.
in the months prior, plus then what the one thing I'm confident in being destroyed in front of me. And then finally I just like got to the point that I couldn't be there anymore, and it just like was best for me to be eliminated.
Did you, when you
And
initially
what was scarier, being eliminated or having to look at Brooklyn Heights' face?
Oh, I love.
I'm just kidding.
Well, she was the
What was
what
your
I think her reading me was the hardest because there's a lot of things on there that you don't see in terms of critique because they give you way more critique than
Yeah,
what they
I
show
hear
you
you're
on the
up there
show.
for a
So
while.
it's it's having someone like Brooklyn that I'm went in as like friends with, but also someone who, was that Canadian girl. And from a drag point of view in Canada, we didn't have drag race for up until, the last 5 years or 6 years. Um, so seeing someone who was able to make their way to the States and like, because America, you look at America as like kind of like the mecca of drag, you
Yeah.
hope that you get to start working in the States and doing the tours that I looked up to her because even before Drag Race, she was living in the States and doing all these things. So that's what motivated me to like start working in the States and traveling to like New York and LA and doing all these things. And so I look up to Brooklyn in a way, and having her, do her job, it broke me in that moment. And it took a while after the show, but we've definitely like talked and we're like, she loves me, I love her, so it wasn't anything personal. But
when you
Okay.
were auditioning
Her
and
face is not
planning to
scary.
go, say again,
What?
clearly and
What were you
loudly into
saying?
the microphone.
What were you saying?
Were you in your mind, were you like, I'm going all the way? Or were you like, oh, what I do is a little bit different than the other girls, or, I'm going to do well and boost my career? Or were you like eyes on the crown? Because I think some people, now the show's been around for so long, there are different franchises of it.
yeah,
A lot of people are talking about Corey King right now on season 17, talking about there's no way she thought she was
She
going to
thought she was gonna
compete
win. I
for the
watched a
crown.
video. She thought she said, when I packed my package, I thought, oh baby, this is a winning package. The girls aren't gonna take this.
And everybody else is like, there's no way that you thought that way. So my
Not with a
curiosity is,
spandex Dorothy dress.
okay, my curiosity was, you're like, oh baby, I'm getting the crown.
I
Is that how you were when you packed? She's over here with this one.
yes and yes and oh yes.
I bet there's in this wig.
That's like, well, it's hair. If you don't have in it, you're
Well,
not doing the hair justice.
that's probably why she got rid of it. She was like, I got a new one. Yeah, that's
I went into it being like, I obviously was like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I can make it all the way. Like, I'm unique. I'm like me. And I have, like, we all have,
I am
This
me.
I am
This is
me.
me.
I am me. But I think we all have that. We all
Yeah.
have
Oh,
that. I
yeah.
mean, we all are
You
our
have-
own main characters. And
Yeah.
so we all are like, yeah, the possibility to get to the end, or like, I am getting there. That's part of my story was there. But I think for me, the most part is like, I was just gagged that I got on the show. I was grateful to like be with everyone. And I knew that there was a 1 in 12 chance that I could make it to like get the crown essentially.
Yeah.
So I was just like, let's make the best of it and have the best time and hope for the best and try my hardest. And that was kind of like my thing. And I think too, when you like,
I
if
mean,
you put winning as your only form of like satisfaction on the show, then you have like like 11 out of 12 chance of being disappointed. Whereas
Right.
like if you go in being like, just purely grateful to be there and you're determined to make it to the very end, it holds like a different kind of like expectation for how
But
it
I
comes out.
also feel like, I mean, it would be weird to get on that show and then be like, well, I'm not gonna win. Like going in with the thought process of like, I'm not gonna win is not a great
Do people
plan.
actually do that?
I don't know, but it's like,
I think if you're going in like that, then you're doing a disfavor to all the other people that auditioned.
yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there that clearly
So
have
like no one, I
more.
guess what I'm saying is no one's gonna look at their stuff and be like, this is bad. I should not do
I
this.
don't know. I
Like
feel
Corey
like
Keane didn't go on that show looking the way she does, thinking I'm not going to win. She thought, I'm great at the internet. I'm funny. Plain Jane made it to the end. I'm going to make it to the end.
Sure. Corey, call in. Let us know.
I love Corey.
Me
I love Corey,
too.
too.
All the clips that come out about this podcast make me seem like I don't like her. I think she's great.
Don't clip that.
Don't
All
clip
right.
that.
We're going to take a break and we'll be right back after this. And we're back. So,
Say drag.
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 Let's say it like you're from Canada.
Drag.
Drag?
Drag.
Drag?
Drag.
Wait,
Drag.
queen.
Drag. What's another word in
Drag?
English, in Canadian English? Like, what do you say? Oh, you say, sorry. And we say, I say sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I can't say sorry
Sorry.
without sounding like a
Sorry.
valley
Sorry.
girl. Sorry.
Yeah, because
Sorry.
yeah, I guess you would spell
Sorry.
it the way we say it, like with an A, like sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
Say
Sorry.
McDonald's.
Sorry.
McDonald's.
Or how do you say backpack?
Backpack. How do you say it? Bake pig.
Backpack? Backpack?
Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Vancouver. It's almost like there's a G in there. Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Do you speak French?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Vancouver
I don't know. I actually.
is over by
you know
Seattle.
the
It's on the
American-
West Coast.
Sure.
It's like a different
You know-
side of Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because
the
you know, us
Quebec
Americans
and-
don't know anything about any other country.
There's
I didn't
there's
know.
not much you need to know about Canada except for
Montreal.
But Vancouver is like kind of a beachy town, right? When
Yeah, it's right on the
weather's
ocean.
Nice. Yeah.
it's the BC's like the California of Canada, and Vancouver
BC
is like the
standing for
LA.
British Columbia.
Okay, just
Because they
making
call
sure.
Vancouver Hollywood North because it's cheaper to
Shoot
produce
there.
movies
That's
there.
where they
so
made
that's
the
where
L
they film
word
everything. Yeah.
forever and ever and ever.
You
Love
the
the L word. I really do. Now, can you talk to us about vajazzling?
Oh yeah,
Let's
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about that.
My vagina.
Let's-
I love talking about it. Oh, wow.
No,
So,
I'm
I
just
didn't
kidding.
know we were.
This is YouTube. We can't say vagina. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we can't. You
When
said
did you invent the
Oh.
opening of the shirt and skirt wind all at once move? That has never been replicated by anyone else.
That was, I would say, before the pandemic, like 2019.
Okay.
2019, that was the first time I did it. And then I kind of just, it hasn't lost its gaggery since. So I just keep
No.
doing it.
I saw you do it at Precinct once, and I saw you do it.
That
the-
one, though, wasn't giving the way that it normally
the
does.
fan
The
wasn't
fan was
strong
not
enough.
strong enough.
I was about to say you need now. Precinct has 2 giant fans. Like,
Do they really?
yeah,
Thank
last night
God.
they had to turn them down because like
it was lifting the wig.
Rubella's wig was like about to come off.
My rider comes with a fan with a
Was it-
link to the proper fan for the promoter to
that.
purchase
I
that.
love that. It's like
No,
unlike
the promoter, you know, the-
Charlene, who puts it in her
brings it.
suitcase.
She brings it
I-
with her.
And following her suit, I actually took mine with me one time to Toronto. And when I got to, I put it in a spare suitcase that I had. And when I got there, it was just destroyed, like just
Oh no!
busted.
Naomi flew to Utah with her spotlight.
That's crazy.
You sometimes you got what
Sometimes
you
you
want.
gotta
and
do.
You gotta
Charlene, though, is one of the ones, or probably is, that like really got me into Wind Machine. Her and
Oh.
Sasha, obviously.
go. Yes.
But Charlene, I saw her live one time in New York, and I was just like gagged by it. And then she posted this one video of her just like voguing and like serving with it, and I was like, "That's it. Wind needs to be part of my."
She
thing.
doesn't like. She can like skip around the room and get everyone's attention,
Yeah.
and then go stand in front of that fan, and then we're all wrapped for 3.5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
The way she gets right over it, sort of
And
looks
she'll,
at you over the top of her eyes and
But then
lets
the
her hair
hair-
flow.
And she has the hair forward and
And
it's
forward.
flying, and she has
Yes.
like this sexuality and this for this connection that she has
Say whatever
with
you
the
want.
audience that just like I'm such a
She's-
Charlene
Charlene's
fan.
the best.
Yeah, there's something about her that no one else can do that.
Yeah.
And it's just like it. When you look at it, it's like, oh, that seems easy, but it's like try it.
No,
then.
it's hard.
Get up there and try doing that.